Welcome back to SMITE Guides. Today we are talking about ARES, one of the more popular guardians right now, and just in general has always been pretty popular. He's very control based. He does a lot of damage as well at the same time. People love playing him because one, awesome ult with the pull. Even if people have beads, you should get it back fast enough. You play with a team that has a lot of beads poppers. He's a lot of fun to play. And then in general, he's been one of the guardians that's really good at doing a lot of damage, securing kills, and just fun to play as like a bruiser type guardian as well. Alrighty, we'll get into Ares' abilities. We'll first talk about his passive. His passive, basically, it's very straightforward. It's a permanent buff to Ares based on the auras that he has completed. He gets more magical power based on each aura item that he has built and fully complete. This is 30 additional magical power for each aura item. Very straightforward, very easy, and that's why he does so much damage. You just go all auras on Ares and you'll be a tank with too much damage for anyone to be able to handle. Whoops. So we'll get into Ares' core abilities. We'll first talk about his shackles, which is the chains that he shoots out. They are kind of weird. Just a side note, they kind of are like a little bit slow when it comes to strafing. You'll see that they kind of fall behind the actual place. You'll get used to using them over time, but it's kind of weird. You'll see them drag along as you go. But basically, this is a damaging ability that also provides a cripple to anybody that's shackled. The cripple prevents any movement speed abilities from activating this time, so really good at securing and controlling someone when you're trying to get a lot of damage off. But it also does a lot of tick damage during this time as well. And every time you have 2 seconds to fire out another chain for a max of 3. And then once you fire the last chain, it gets 4 seconds before it goes away. And this entire duration, it's doing tick damage to the person that it hit. You can also get a movement speed buff from this for each target that is hit with a chain. So if you hit them with 1 chain, and then 2 chains and 3 chains, you get the additional 15% up to 3 times, 45% increased movement speed. You can hit multiple targets at once with the chain. It doesn't have to be one person. You can have 3 chains on 3 separate targets all at once. His 2 is an aura protection ability that gives everyone around him increased protections and healing per second, which allows, for sustaining and fighting in. Whenever you have your chains attached to someone, those protections are increased for each target that is shackled. So if you activate it while that chain is going, then everyone around gets more protections than they originally would have. And then his final 3, before we get to his ultimate, is the ability everyone loves about Ares, his flames, which is really good for clearing out minions. Anyone you get attached to the chains and chase them down with the fire, you get the tick damage from the chains, tick damage from the fire, and just in general, you're doing a lot of damage. That's why he's really good at securing, because he's got so much tick damage. Anyone at low health, if Ares is in the vicinity of that person, there's a good chance he'll probably clean that kill up just because of the tick damage alone. There is also the increase that he gets against jungle camps for his chains. Take plus 40% increased damage if they're hit with the chain as well. Just a little side note on that. Going into his ultimate is a pull. Anybody within the large area that Ares has here is going to get pulled to him during this ability. Just to show you kind of what that looks like, he'll go up in the air, chain will attach, and then they will drop right in front of Ares, and they will also be stunned during this duration for 2.5 seconds. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not 2.5 seconds. After 2.5 seconds, they are pulled to Ares, and then they will get a 1 second stun during that ultimate. It can attach to as many enemies that are near him. Obviously, if they have CC, they can get out of it. But in general, it's a really good ability. It still does damage to anyone that gets attached to it, and it is quite a bit of damage. Again, another reason why Ares is really good at securing out kills. Alrighty, so we will go over here and show you what a full burst of Ares abilities looks like. Most of the time, you're going to do quite a bit of damage to your less tanky people like the Mage, Hunter, Assassin. But in general, you're not going to be able to like 1v1 someone or anything like that. Really good at securing though, and also getting off that nice initial burst of damage while still being fully tanky and being able to be that front line that everyone needs in the late game group fights. But in general, you're going to be able to do quite a bit of damage to someone. This is a no item built raw, but most of the time they're not going to build any protections anyway. So like half health is what you can expect of taking someone with a full burst of your abilities if you don't use your ultimate. Obviously your ultimate, like I said, still does quite a bit of damage. I'll show you what that looks like as well, just so you can see what that tick looks like once it goes off. Nice little bit of damage taken off there. So we'll go into builds. Very easy for Ares. Very cut and dry. Just build auras. The more auras you build, the stronger he becomes. That's why you're going to go into Sentinel's Embrace. So you'll start out with Sentinel's Gift. pop it up to the aura of Sentinel's Embrace, giving everyone around you those protections. You go Prophetic Cloak because it's the item to build. It also gives some cooldowns for Ares, which is nice. You get the double protections, physical and magical, and some health there. Contagion, which is the strongest anti-heal item right now. If you're having trouble with magical, yes, you could go Pestilence, but most of the time everyone's going to build Contagion right now. Again, more health, MP5 and mana, and then the passive of the additional tick damage for anybody that gets hit by the passive as well. Emperor's Armor is a really strong item, especially with Ares, who's going to be doing a lot of tower diving in the late game for secure. You could see some in the mid game as well. Sometimes you'll blink into tower to pull people out in order to secure kills, so Emperor's Armor is always nice. The Amulet of the Stronghold's really good with this type of build because you're going heavy into physical protections and working or relying on Amulet of the Stronghold to provide you the additional magical protections that you lack because you're building all this physical. You get a 15% of your physical protections are then converted over to magical, so this helps out with that. So Sovereignty also gives everyone around you additional magical protections, and Amulet of the Stronghold gives everyone around you magical protections as well, and I meant to say physical on Sovereignty. So this is your full build here. I'm not saying you can't build differently, just make sure you focus on just the auras tab here and just go into your aura. Shogun's another really good one. If you didn't want to go a full physical protections into Amulet of the Stronghold, you're still going to keep Sovereignty. You can get rid of Emperor's Armor, keep Contagion, go something like Shogun's Kasari. Would always be really good. If you want to do a little bit more damage, you could go Mystical Mail. You could still build Heartward Amulet to give magical protections to everyone around you. And then you could go still into Amulet of the Stronghold, just get that little bit of benefit. But really, what I showed you first is like the go-to build. And then if you wanted to get that additional attack speed, you could sub in Shogun's Kasari in there as well. Just know that if you go into Heartward Amulet, that you're going to be kind of lacking in the whole passive ability. You could go into Amulet of Silence. I just don't like it too much. It's not that great. Passive's not that great anyway. So just keep in mind that I think the primary strong build for Ares is going to be probably Emperor's Armor and a Heartward Amulet, and to build something like this. The only time I would build Shoguns is if you're like struggling a little bit on the hunter side of things and they need help with their attack speed. But right now, ability-based hunters are pretty strong, so in general, you probably won't need that. But this is a very strong set build. Like I said, the only thing really you should probably sub in is going to be Shogun's Kasari. You could go Gauntlet as well instead of Prophetic Cloak. I just feel like the 10% cooldown reduction is a little bit better. Gauntlet's fallen off a little bit. It used to be the item. It's still good, don't get me wrong. I just think Prophetic Cloak's a little bit better. And then built out with the rest of these items is still good. So you could go Gauntlet as well and sub that out for something if you needed to. That has been our Ares guide. If I missed anything, if there's anything that I need to include or didn't mention, make sure you leave it in the comments below for myself and anybody else that watches. And also, if you guys like the video, leaving a like on it lets me know, and also subscribing to the channel allows me to know that you're planning on coming back for more content, also letting me know I'm doing very well. And then other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. This has been The Bride Cry.